What's behind the Republican divides on Syria? CBS News. CBSNews.com, CBS Evening News, CBS This Morning, 48 hours, 60 minutes, Sunday morning, Face the Nation. Video. U.S. World. Politics. Entertainment. Health. Money Watch. C-Tech. Crime. Sports. More. Blogs The Feed Battleground The WH. Webshow 60 Overtime Face-to-Face. Resources Mobile Radio Local. Login. Join CBSNews.com. Sign in with. Profile. Manage my newsletter subscriptions. Update my email address. Change my password. Log out. Syria Crisis Explore. Latest. Foreign intervention. Chemical weapons. Humanitarian crisis. Brev. Next. By Anthony Salvanto, CBS News /September 6, 2013, 6 a.m. What's behind the Republican divides on Syria? Play CBS News video. The Syria debate dividing Republicans for and against action may seem like a newly emerging split, or even a potential course change, for a party that was long associated with support for Iraq and Afghanistan. But these divides have been simmering for a while. As Iraq wound down, there was plenty skepticism and war weariness within the GOP. The Syria crisis only brings it to the fore. That doesn't mean Syria is analogous to those conflicts, but in public opinion the recent past usually informs the present. As Senate preps Syria vote, Obama works to close the sale House members in 2014 spotlight, as Syria vote looms. In the spring of 2004, a year into the Iraq War, 80% of Republicans called it the right thing to have done and just 15% would have stayed out. By 2013, in the 10th anniversary of the war, a lower 61% of Republicans looked back on Iraq as the right thing, and twice as many, 31%, would have stayed out. Though it wasn't a steady drop, the number bounced around here and there. Some of this is driven by people's reading of results. Republicans 10 years on were only mixed on whether the war had achieved its goals, which is about the same place the overall public was. Play video. Constituents' calls and emails pressure lawmakers on Syria. Play video. Obama, Syrian chemical attack must be addressed. Play video. Graham, Senate too close to call on Syria vote. By the end of 2011, most approved of removing the troops. And we saw these distinct parts of the GOP coalition, as they picked standard bearers, too. Back in 2008, a third of Republicans in the New Hampshire primary disapproved of the war, even as they gave their votes to John McCain, who had supported the surge. The rise of the Tea Party, sometimes questioning the financial and other costs of America's expanded role overseas, gave voice to some of these doubts, too, in recent years. Before his son Rand emerged in the Senate, Ron Paul drew impassioned support in the Republican primaries in part by sounding these themes. Just last winter, the CBS News poll asked if the U.S. should generally try to change dictatorships to democracies around the world, or stay out of other countries' affairs. 7 in 10 Republicans said stay out, though that was in the shadow of the crisis in Libya. But the numbers for intervening, in principle, hadn't been all that high in the last decade anyway. In 2008, while President Bush was still in office, only 28% said change dictators as a matter of policy. In December of 2006 only 36% did. And note that's more or less been the default position of most Americans, overall, going back almost 30 years to 1986, when we started asking the question, and when 6 in 10 Americans said stay out. The divides in the GOP now don't necessarily mean Republicans, as a party, have become less hawkish or more isolationist or whichever labels might get hung on it. And it isn't clear most rank-and-file voters even think in those terms, though the eventual vote in Syria may impact the party brand. What we see in the Senate between leaders like John McCain, who's in favor, and Rand Paul, who's not, and in recent polls like Pew's, where rank-and-file Republicans